I swear, as the year goes on, it gets harder and harder to only pick 5 albums for the weekend's top 5 best new metal album show. But here's my best stat. Welcome, metalheads. I'm the host of Heavy Metal Philosophy and writer for Metal Digest, John Barber. Make sure you stick around to the end of the episode for this week's album art of the week. And before we jump into the top 5, always talk about the big album releases of the week before we do it, so let's get that done real quick. The OGs really came out to play this week, so let's start off with the new record from Deicide. Banished by Sin, those Florida legends have done it again. We also got a super fun one from my fellow Georgians, Black Tusk, with the Way Forward. This is some seriously angry, hardcore punk-infused sludge metal. I talked to the guys this week. I'll give you a link to that at the end, but let's keep going. This next band might be the OGs of the OGs. Their debut came out in 1979. I'm talking about Accept. And here we are in 2024 with a new record called Humanoid. They're German legends of heavy metal, y'all. And next up, we got a new record from the band with possibly my favorite logo in all of death metal, Party Cannon. With Injuries Are Inevitable, slam metal out of the UK, you know you want to get down with Party Cannon. And then we also got a new record from the Kings of Noise, Full of Hell, and their new album, Coagulated Bliss. And lastly, before we jump into the top 5, but never leastly, the OGs of all OGs, Dark Throne, with their new record, It Beckons Us All. And I got my hands on this one a little bit early. Y'all know what that means. My written review is already published in Metal Digest, links in the description. All of my writings, it's Dark Throne. You know it's gonna be awesome. Now let's do the top 5. Coming in at number 5, I think it's Acroasis. I'm not sure of that pronunciation. I have the text on the screen just in case, and as always, every band's Bandcamp link will be in the description so that these albums are easy to find. The name of this one is Hubris. It's thrash metal out of Switzerland. I love the old school sound of this one, but with really good production so it doesn't sound dated, angry vocals, all of those nice guitar harmonies that I love about that old school heavy metal so much. And speaking of guitar harmonies, coming in at number 4, Ard with Untouched by Fire. This is monastic doom metal out of the UK. I got my hands on this one early too, and I spun it a bunch of times because I loved it. I'm not kidding when I call this monastic doom metal. It was written by a PhD of history and philosophy, and it's written about King Oswald the Whiteblade. Yeah, and we said monastic doom metal. So throughout the grinding doom riffs, you hear these monks doing beautiful choir singing, which just adds to the gothic, historical metalness of it. Another one I got early, coming in at number 3, Wingless with Ascension. This is Death Doom out of Poland. But don't let that Death Doom genre description fool you into thinking that this one's super slow. There are wild tempo swings on this one. It's all over the place. So yeah, it's got the slow section, and that's where it gets the Death Doom genre title from. But they'll kick in some double bass very unpredictably and in a hurry. And these rapid changes, these terrace dynamics, keep it interesting from the beginning to the end. Make sure you relax after you listen to this one, or your face will get stuck like that. Coming in at number 2, Amensis with Reclamation Part 1. This is progressive black metal. I love this one, and even more importantly, I love what's happening in American black metal right now. For the longest time, American black metal bands were trying to sound like their heroes from Scandinavia. But now we're starting to get truly original American black metal, like Wayfarer, like Panopticon, like our friends in El Citos, and now I commend Amencius for doing the same thing. They might be the most unique of them all. This doesn't sound frigid in the least bit. In fact, it's warm and reflective and even triumphant at times. There's clean singing with 3-point harmony and fiddle, just so many different things going on. You would forget that it's black metal sometimes until here comes the tremolo picking and the screaming. Now, I can hear it now. Some black metal fans might listen to this and go, this is real black metal. Good. Before we do number one, I need to ask you something because I've got plans coming up and I want you all to be involved in those plans. I'm leaving it a little bit open in my mind because I want to hear what you have to think first. I'll let that influence my decision. But here's what I'm planning. At the time of this recording, the channel has 9,847 subscribers. So that's just a hair over 150 subscribers away from the big 10,000. I'm super excited about that. I want to celebrate with you all. I've already talked to a couple of record labels and some PR people about, what can we do for the community to celebrate this occasion? Now I want to ask you, how would you like to celebrate? Should I record some sort of weird and psychotic episode? Should I have a certain guest on to talk about it? Or do you want a live stream where everybody can join in? And this is the important part. If we do have a live stream, we need to have something to do during the live stream besides just stand around and talk about how much bolt thrower rules, right? So hit me in the comments, let me know, how would you like to celebrate 10,000 subscribers when and if it happens, hopefully before the summer. Thank you so much. Now let's do number one. Oh, wait, one more thing. Look at this handsome bastard. That's right, Fashion is an OG around these parts. He's been around since the channel was teensy weensy. And he decided to share how handsome he looks in this Heavy Metal Philosophy hoodie. And for sharing it on social media, I sent him a 15% off code. Hold on to it though, because we're going to release more products on the merch store soon. In fact, my man Jeremy asked for polo shirts so he can wear one to work. Your wish is my command, sir. Polo shirts are now in the store. Links in the description. Now let's do number one. Coming in at number one, the indomitable and mighty Tombstone with Rot, Stink, Rip, death metal out of New York. I absolutely love their debut album, Victims of Vile Torture. I wasn't alone. My friends over there at the Bangers and Mosh podcast, I believe it was Jimmy who named it as his 2021 album of the year. And I fully expect this one to rank high on people's end of the year list as well. In my opinion, this plants Tombstoner firmly in the vanguard of the new wave of American death metal, that groove-oriented death metal. I'm talking bands like 200 Stabbers, Undeath, Tribal Gates. Put Tombstoner on that list at the forefront of this movement. They absolutely crushed it with this one. Gotta go get it. Listen, we're not done yet. We still got a very interesting dealer's choice and the album art of the week. Once again, dealer's choice allows me to pick something that may or may not be extreme metal, something weird and out of the ordinary. The only criteria is, I think you'll like it, and this definitely fits that criteria. I'm talking about Harvest Man with Triptych Part 1. This is really groovy instrumental music from Steve Von Till of Neurosis fame. This is like desert psychedelia, but it's kind of electronic a little bit, and the bass playing on this is so groovy. I found myself just doing this as I was listening to it. Definitely some shamanic stuff going on here. And speaking to that, it actually didn't release on Friday like most of these other albums. It released on Tuesday because it was a full moon, and the other two parts of this 3-part series are going to release on other days of the full moon. My man is definitely trying to channel something here. Check it out. My favorite album art this week came from LaghCat, Verse Noir. This is blackened death metal out of France, so I probably mispronounced that. I'm terribly sorry, but look at this album art. That is so cool. And a testament to the fact that you don't have to do monsters, skulls, especially black metal bands. It doesn't have to be a picture of a forest or a castle on top of a mountain. You can do something cool that makes your band stand out. I especially like creepy, real photography like this. That eyeball in this lady's mouth really made me go, what is that? And so I listened to the album. That's the job of good album art. And speaking of new albums, I got to talk to Black Tusk this week on the podcast about their new album, The Way Forward. And in that conversation, something really interesting came up. I was asking them what motivates them all these years later to still make punk and metal music. And Derek was telling me, I've got a great life. I've got really supportive and awesome parents, and I love metal. And that answer and their reasoning behind why they still are into metal, even though they're not, the stereotype, I found that really interesting. I think you will too if you check it out. Just click right here. But most importantly, read philosophy, listen to metal. I love you.